Yes, my Monday routine of getting the weekend recap out to you is back, and it returns alongside Man United's routine of playing weird matches against Brighton. We'll get to that, of course, but hello, I'm Adrian, and welcome to Rabona TV's weekend recap, which comes out every Monday, my friend. Typically, we do our top 4 leagues, meaning France doesn't make the cut, but given Italy and Spain haven't started yet, they're in there. And we got to talk about this PSG side anyway. They look serious, for lack of a better word. And yes, I know who they played against, but still, again, we'll get to that. If you're into this kind of Monday routine, this kind of Monday weekend recap ceremony, then subscribe and stick around. There's plenty of other content coming out regularly on the channel as well. Get involved. All right, shall we get started? The Premier League returned on Friday with Arsenal taking on Crystal Palace. Not the easiest of fixtures really, as I think Palace are going to be a pest. And yes, you can copy and paste this to every match we speak about today. It was the first game of the season, the first 90 minutes of 3,420 minutes of league play. So it's a very small sample size, you could say. But what can we take from this match in particular? Arsenal really do seem to be picking up from where they left off, and while Gabriel Jesus turned invisible for the most part in the second half, that first half from him, I mean, that was stunning. Such a threat with the ball at his feet, drawing defenders around him, beating men for fun, opening space for his teammates to attack in the wide areas. On top of that, I thought their back line had a decent base to build upon, and I'm very excited to see how Saliba gets on in this league as well. He was incredible for Marseille last season. He's been capped by France as well a few times. Things are looking good for Arsenal. They definitely need to work on their finishing. That's an understatement saying that. Compared to their performance in the Community Shield, Liverpool looked like a shadow of themselves up against Fulham. The newly promoted sides, I find that they often come out swinging. They come out sprinting. And this match was no exception. Liverpool were sluggish, the ball was bouncing around everywhere and was pretty unsettled at times, especially in that first half, which absolutely plays into Fulham's favor. And Liverpool's backline did not look like a group of guys that have been playing together for years. Trent Alexander-Arnold in defending the back post, I know he has made strides in his defensive game in the last year or so, but this is still seemingly a problem area for him. Way too easy for Mitrovic at that back post. Again, when Darwin Núñez came on for Liverpool, he provided a spark for the entire team. He's such an awkward player to watch, ungainly. The ball looks like it's trying to get away from him all the time, but thanks to his excellent movement in the box and his physicality, he's always going to cause issues, and he did just that. A goal and an assist to help Liverpool ahead. Salah with the second, only for Van Dijk to look ungainly himself. 2 bites of the apple on Mitrovic, missed the ball both times, but got Mitrovic both times. Was it light contact? Yes, but it was absolutely a penalty, no question in my mind. 2-2 and a frustrating start for Liverpool when contrasted with their Community Shield performance. For Fulham, massive point, and they looked pretty decent, didn't they? Oh, and one thing I should have mentioned about Liverpool in my preview was how thin their midfield looks. Injury to Keita and Thiago, and things look bad for them all of a sudden. I mean, all of the respect for Milner and his career, but relying on him in 2022 when injuries strike, that's really not ideal. Chelsea did not look decent. They still looked like Narcolepsy FC going forward. They required a penalty away to Everton in order to get the 3 points. Really tough watch, to be honest. Same old same from Chelsea. I get that Goodison can be a tough place to go away to, but if Chelsea are going to labor against teams that could be in a relegation dogfight like this, I worry about them. And this must have been a shocking introduction for Sterling. Yuri Mina, interesting defensive tactics there. Just as Mina and Sterling struggled about on the floor, if Chelsea continue playing like this, top 4 could be tough for them. Part of that rationale is, as I went over in my Premier League preview, is that Arsenal and Spurs have made great strides in the last year or so, and this Spurs exhibited that. Playing against another team that could be fighting for their lives in the league, Spurs fell behind early against Southampton following a James Ward-Prowse volley. As I said on Twitter, I love a volley straight into the ground that bounces into the top corner. There's something beautiful about that. But from there, Spurs looked fantastic. Kulusevski was incredible. He grabbed a goal and was constantly playing diagonal balls to Sessegnon on the overlap, who absolutely had the best performance of his, let's call it stuttering Spurs career. And then you look to the bench, and there's still guys like Richarlison and Perisic that can come onto the pitch so Spurs can relentlessly ravage sides. They'll be a pest all season. Bournemouth got a great start as they beat Steven Gerrard's Villa 2-0 at Vitality Stadium. We also saw Leeds United get an opening fixture victory at home against Wolves. Brendan Aronson had a fantastic start as the all-energy American grabbed a goal on his Premier League debut, or at least it looked as if he had, as it was deemed to be an own goal after. Still, a stunning performance from Aronson. Yeah, that's a great start. Nottingham failed to make it a hat-trick of good results for the newly promoted sides as Newcastle United simply outclassed them. Newcastle will be a really interesting team to watch this season, guys. How is that guy? Goals came from Fabian Schär and Joelinton, later setting up Callum Wilson. Wilson, man, I mean, he fits into that category of guys I like. Not good enough to be considered a top player in the league, but capable of goals like this and a decent return of goals each season. Ings kind of falls into that category, though he's probably a bit better than Wilson if you'd asked me, but they have that same sort of energy, you know? Am I alone here? Does this make sense? Is this thing on? Anyway, Leicester did a Leicester thing in blowing a 2-0 lead against Brentford, allowing the Bees to come back late at the King Power thanks to an equalizer from Josh Da Silva. And United, Manchester United, they did United things, just as Leicester did Leicester things against Brighton, as in their defending was poor. A lot of that thanks to absolutely zero control or protection from the midfield. I mean, McTominay in 2022 still, that's wild. Guy should have been sent off as well. Sign a damn 6, you weirdos. It's been obvious for years and years, but plenty of credit to Danny Welbeck for exploiting the deficiencies, the calamity at the back for United. Pascal Gross was a brace for them. A sloppy own goal from Brighton gave United hope, and Ronaldo had a couple of moments of quality when he eventually came on, but this team felt unchanged. Again, it's very early days for a new manager, but there are still issues that have been occurring for years now that you have to point to the squad. Reset club, I think, is the only way forward. Erling Haaland looked very Erling Haaland-y in his Premier League debut against West Ham, using his pace in behind to draw a penalty, which he duly converted with ease against Fabianski. Then in the second half, he scored the most Haaland goal, ball played into space for him to run onto from Kevin De Bruyne, perfectly weighted, by the way. And Haaland rolled it past Fabianski. Can't ask for more in your debut, or can you, Erling?
A bit shit, but that's all it is. Steady with the language.
He really adds that something different to City, doesn't he? They didn't really have that threat in behind before. So that's a good start for City, getting the 3 points. New guy scoring, a brace. You can't ask for much more as we look over the scores thus far. Of course, we won't bother looking at the table yet, as it's truly pointless until a good few matches in. In Liga, and I know this will not paint a good picture for the coming season, but it really looks like the entirety of PSG is extremely serious this season, bringing in Campos to overhaul their midfield, major problem area for them, bringing in Galtier, a firm coach who has already improved upon their pressing, not to mention Neymar looking like a completely different player compared to last season. It has certainly painted a picture of PSG being a very difficult team to contend with in Europe in the coming season. We'll see how things pan out when the schedule gets congested in the fall here. But still, yeah, of course they were always going to beat up on Clermont, or at least you'd hope that they would, right? They've not lost a match against them before, and that didn't change today. Some of the quality of the goals they were scoring, though, oh my. Messi, low bicycle kick will take the cake, but Neymar's volley into the bottom corner was smooth as well. Interested to see how they continue on. I'm liking the look of Neymar in particular in preseason, the Coupe de Champion, and his first league match. A 5-0 win to open things up isn't so bad, is it? Well, it's bad for the league, I think. Also, shout out to Lacazette, who had a dream return to Ligue 1 with Lyon, as he set up the first goal, then converted a penalty 10 minutes later, as Lyon led 2-0 after 22 minutes. But a red for Anthony Lopes 5 minutes later complicated things. However, Lyon held on for a 2-1 win. Alexander Nubel had to be on his game against Strasbourg, who have developed into a pretty tricky side in the last year, as AS Monaco went home with a 2-1 win. Brillon Bolo looks decent in his first Ligue 1 start for his new side as well, so something to build upon there in a new club. Paulo Fonseca got off to a great start at Lille as he reshuffled the deck a bit, didn't he? Jonathan David, formerly played as a striker, was played on the right of what looked to be a 4-2-3-1, and it really worked against Auxerre. David set up Andre after just 1 minute before Remy Cabella, remember him, got a brace of assists for David's brace. As my boy Vas pointed out, that Cabella was a problem in FIFA 15. So far so good for Lille, 4-1 win, and hopefully they can challenge PSG again this season to keep some competition alive in France. And Marseille, they of course played as well, and editor Adrian has you covered for that match. Hello, Editor Adrian here. So yeah, Marseille looked quite good, didn't they? They got a 4-1 win over Stade Reims, a brace from Luis Javier Suarez, that is. What I was more interested in is that finally, someone is playing Nuno Tavares in a wing-back situation, because he's another one of those wingers turned fullback kind of guys. He clearly offers far more going forward than he does in defense. So yeah, so good on you, Igor Tudor, for finally playing him in a position where he can actually excel, and he got a nice goal, didn't he? Bundesliga. Just as we said in France with the PSG result sort of looking like a dark omen for the rest of the league, Bayern's dominance of Eintracht Frankfurt on Friday evening was kind of like the dark mark in the sky for the rest of the Bundesliga. 6-1 Bayern away to Eintracht Frankfurt. Away to them, which is big because typically Frankfurt's home support, etc., they're often one of the bogey teams for Bayern. Jamal Musiala, he looked incredible. Remember, he's 19 years old and learning from one of the best in Thomas Müller. Could be worse. Muller, by the way, 2 quick assists for him, easy, while Mane and Gnabry grabbed a goal each, assist for Gnabry as well. Frankfurt's goal came from some poor control from Neuer as he coughed up the ball to Muani, who rolled it in. Consolation goal, keep those fans at least, keep them away from rioting. Hertha Berlin away to Union Berlin to open the season. A big shout out to Union sporting director Oliver Runert, who was a very busy man this summer, dealing with the loss of Taiwo Awoniyi, who was gone to Nottingham. Would have been tough, but you wouldn't know it after one match in the league. Yes, I know it's early, but Sibachu scored on his Bundesliga debut for Union. You may remember him as Pifok, and that was set up by Geraldo Becker, who later scored as well. In the end, Union 3-1. They continue to go from strength to strength. Curious to see where they'll end up this season. Daniel Fark, remember him from Norwich? He's, of course, the new manager of Borussia Mönchengladbach, and they got off to a great start at home in the Bundesliga against Hoffenheim. Not an easy side. They had a pretty poor season last term, Gladbach. They lost Ginter, but looked decent against Hoffenheim. A red card for Hoffenheim in the 19th minute certainly makes drawing any sort of conclusions from this match very difficult, though. Borussia Dortmund got a massive victory up against Bayer Leverkusen this weekend at home in front of a packed Signal Iduna Park, with Haller dealing with health issues. Best of luck to him, by the way. We wish him well. But with him unavailable for some time, Moukoko got the start. Also, Anthony Modeste will be joining from Köln on a 1-year contract. He's a proven scorer in the league. We'll see how he does at Dortmund, as this sort of short-term fix to cover for them. Anyway, new arrivals aside, it was a club icon in Marco Reus who got what would be the eventual winner in just the 10th minute for Dortmund. An absolute screamer of a goal from about 1 centimeter away. Adeyemi strike was bundled out of the goal, rolling on the line for Reus to poke in. Also, really strong start from Nico Schlotterbeck in Dortmund's back line. Wins plenty of duels, calm on the ball, and can play a diagonal ball well, as if it was ever in doubt, right? He's been great for Freiburg for a while, and he's still only 22, by the way. Niko Kovac is back with Wolfsburg, and they tied Werder 2-2. Schalke, they had an unhappy welcome back to the league as they fell to Köln. The red card to Schalke's Dominik Drexler in the 35th minute didn't really help them, did it? And RB Leipzig was held away to Stuttgart. Yeah, no looking at the tables here. It's still pointless. Still pointless. New league, still pointless. And quickly through Portugal, as the top sides all looked very good. Benfica continued to excel under Roger Schmidt, with their new signings flourishing as well. Granted, this was against Arouca, so of course a 4-0 win is what you would expect really from Benfica in this kind of match, but they wouldn't deliver on expectations the last couple of seasons. So coupled with the smashing of Midtjylland in Champions League qualifying, they are looking very good, and it's looking like Ricardo Horta could be coming in. FC Porto are also looking great as they beat up Marítimo 5-1. Gabriel Veron coming on was what I was really keeping my eye on, as he was a fantastic player at Palmeiras, and for the price they paid, he could be a massive coup for Porto. Estoril continued to do well following their return to Liga Portugal last season. They won 2-0 over Famalicão. Man, what a fall from grace they've had, eh? They seemed like they were going to be another team that challenges for European spots regularly when they arrived in the league. Famalicão, I'm talking about. But they have fallen off horrendously. Credit to Estoril, though. And finally, the match of the weekend, both leading into and after it, was no doubt Braga vs Sporting. Editor Adrian has you covered for that one as it kicked off later than the rest, and I gotta get ahead on some work. So let's go. Ugh. Sporting and Braga, what a match that was. That was very much an enjoyable match to take in on a Sunday evening. Braga 3, Sporting 3. Sporting thought they'd won it in the 83rd minute when Marcus Edwards, the Englishman, scored to make it 3-2. But of course, Braga, Abel Ruiz, they fight back. 3-3 is the final there. And then a nice little moment with Ricardo Horta and the Braga supporters because, as mentioned, the boy could be coming to Benfica. It's looking like he is coming to Benfica, so I am very excited about that. Us and all of the Adrians here at Rabona TV. Wow. Standing ovation for editor Adrian. What a guy. And hey, standing ovation for you as well. Great job, everyone. You made it through the video. Guys, you know, it's great to have the weekend recap back. I missed getting this out to you guys, and what a sprint we're going to have until the World Cup, eh? I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, fellas. We'll talk soon. Ciao.